everybody. It's Ron Bass with another edition of the Ron Bass Show.
Scared me.
Your source for inspiration, for encouragement, for motivation.
Yes.
And a little bit of humor.
Sometimes.
A little bit of dry humor.
Yeah.
Thanks to my compadre over here, Mr. Brent Atterbury.
Sometimes
Marketing guru, executive producer, friend. Any other titles you want to throw in?
I'm really good at catching flies with my hand.
Hey, listen, I batted a fly today. I couldn't believe it. I actually hit the fly.
Wow.
I don't think I've ever done that.
Wow.
Because they're so quick, right? Speaking of that, there's a guy on the internet, on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. And this guy's like, and he'll grab something and it's so fast you can hardly see his hand go. And this is what he does. And it's like, you're looking at it like, how can he do that? And he'll have like a bag, and then behind the bag is like a lighter. And he'll go over the bag and grab the lighter and snatch it so fast that you can't even see him do it. I don't know how he's moving that quick, but he obviously has come up with an art to do that. So thought I'd throw that out there. Kind of cool.
Yeah.
Man, you never know what you're going to see on TikTok. Someday you might even see us on TikTok. Who the heck knows, right?
I don't know.
Speaking of TikTok, we also are in the music business. We have a company called Soar High Entertainment, Soar High Records, which is on YouTube, and our website is soarhighentertainment.com. So we're going to have some YouTube stuff coming up here pretty soon. I forgot to mention that to you. The new producer that I hired actually is a big TikTok guy.
Oh, good.
So he's going to help us when we upload our videos on YouTube. He's going to help us to upload our videos on TikTok and promote it through there. Yeah, he's got a lot of experience with that. So all that at 10 cents won't buy a cup of coffee. So back to Ron Bass and the Motivational Podcast. Today we're going to talk about distractions.
Oh, like the train.
Like the train. Hey, you missed the train. It was here a while ago.
Oh, okay.
And man, was it
people
loud.
walking in front of us?
It was loud, man. But that's okay. We like the train.
Yep.
We like the
do.
like the horn. Speaking of that, I have a friend who's a train engineer. Yeah, he trains.
He
He trains with me, not to use a pun, at the gym that I go to. And he was telling me some crazy stuff. Like he's been sued himself 4 times for running into cars on the like they don't pay attention to the crossing.
Oh.
Yeah. And I said, man, has anybody been killed? He said, no. But I said, have they received a lot of money? And he said, well, in some cases, yes. In other cases, they don't get anything, depending on the circumstances. But I thought that was pretty interesting. They've actually sued the engineer himself, even though he works for Burlington Northern Railroad. But
well, they'll sue where they think they can get money and compensation.
Now, who is, I guess, the lawyers, right?
Oh, yeah. They do some digging and figure out who's got the money here.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
They
go where the money is.
That'd be a good business to be in.
A personal injury attorney?
Yeah, they used to call. That's right. You had a client that did that.
Yeah.
That's another story for another time. That's a long story.
That is.
They used to call them ambulance chasers.
Yes.
Back when I was coming along, like 100 years ago or something like that.
I think they still do.
I was telling Brent today that you know you're old when you get a letter, you get an email or a text like I did that said, "Hey, are you Ron Bass? I think I know you from 40 years ago. You used to date my mother." And I thought, oh my goodness gracious, that's like a real sign from God right there that you're getting up there, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a nice compliment though. She said that she had always liked me and was glad to see I was doing well, and et cetera, et cetera. So that was cool.
And you only dated one person when you were 40 years ago, right?
Yeah, right. That's another long story. Sometime I should talk about those experiences. When you're young, though, you just do some crazy things, man. I think it's just biology. It's just the way you are. When you're young, you're attracted to so many things that when you're older, seem less important. And when you get old, you realize one thing, man, you're fighting. The biggest enemy you have every day is aging. I thought about that today. It's the biggest enemy you have in life is aging. And because you can't stop that process, so you have to find all these different ways to manage that. Because if you don't manage that problem, well, it's not a problem, if you don't manage that situation, it's going to get away from you. Perfect example, I've got a friend of mine 20 years younger than me, just had a heart attack. A friend of mine 10 years younger than me just died from lung cancer. Look, I'm not saying that you couldn't be perfectly healthy, work out every day, eat right, rest right, yada, 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 don't drink, don't smoke. And everything's always going to be perfect, because even those people can have heart problems, cancer problems. You could have an accident, for God's sakes, and die, walking across the street.
Get hit by a train. Have we had a distraction here to get us off subject? I'm not sure. But
That's
go ahead.
funny. Yeah, I'm distracted. I'm going in so many directions. But you know what? I think that's just how we operate with this podcast. We're just all over the place. But we got to have fun.
Yep.
And speaking of distractions, I don't know how I can read my handwriting sometimes. It's just so bad.
You have you have a relative that was a doctor at some point. It makes you write really bad.
Yeah, and the other thing, but I don't say I could have been a doctor because I just don't have any patience. That's a very old
That is
old joke.
But it's still a joke.
It's a joke. Oh boy. Okay. Distractions and hiccups. I thought about that as a term.
Hiccups?
Yeah. It's another way to describe having a distraction. You've never heard
hiccup?
that? You've never heard that term?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the hiccup.
No.
The hiccup.
That's the same word.
Okay, it's a different kind of hiccup.
It's a different kind of hiccup.
Okay.
But it's the suggesting that you've got something that's happening that you don't care for, that you don't like, that's getting you off track, so to speak. Not to use another
Off the train track.
That's terrible, isn't it?
It is.
Oh boy. Well, how much time we got left?
Oh, a lot.
I think we've used up
We got
the whole
all day.
podcast. Okay. Let's see. Distractions and hiccups. Well, here's the deal, guys. Here's the deal, pickle. That's another old saying. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. What was the show Monty Hall did years ago? Let's Make a Deal. Remember that show?
I do. But it wasn't about pickles.
But that guy was so successful. That show, it was so successful. I can't remember how it went, but I think there were like 3 different curtains on the bottom of the. If they picked you, you get to go down and what's behind curtain 1, curtain 2, what's behind door number 1, door number 2,
Yeah.
door number 3.
Yeah.
And I guess that's how you won the prize or didn't win the prize.
Yeah.
But I forgot how you got to that point. How did they decide that you were going to be picked?
I don't know.
I don't recall that. You should know these things. You're supposed to know everything.
I don't. I don't know. Sorry.
I think that was something about, I can't remember how they worked. Let's make a deal. So they had to come up with some kind of I can't remember how they did it. But once they got picked, then it was like, then you get to pick behind door 1, 2, or 3. And they always had beautiful models. I remember that growing up. It's like, wow.
Was it one thing was more expensive than the other? Is this?
I don't think that was I think that was The Price is Right, wasn't it?
Okay, yeah. So
I think maybe that was
I don't know.
Well, if you don't know,
I don't know.
So many distractions.
Yes.
We just can't stay on track. Not use another train joke, but okay. What was your question?
I didn't have one.
Let's make a deal. Oh God!
But go right ahead.
Right, we could do like a TV show like that. We could probably be super successful at it too.
Maybe.
You know, Bob Barker, who did The Price is Right for how many years, was doing pull-ups at 96 years old. I was watching him on Facebook or on TikTok. He just died like a year or two ago. He was almost 100. That guy he worked out his whole life, though. Another example of why you got to work out, guys. If you want to live to be old and be healthy. I mean, it's one thing to be old and be sick, but if you can be old and be healthy, man, that's powerful stuff. How do you get there? Work out, rest, don't do drugs and alcohol, be around really good people. I was talking to a friend at the gym today, and I said, man. In fact, it's a girl that works at the gym. We were on the Stairmaster together, or she came up and joined me, and we were talking about working out and this and that. And she's probably 20 years old, 21 years old. And I said, man, the most important thing other than working out is probably being around the right kind of people. Because if you're around negative people, I promise you're not going to have the right kind of influence to be on the Stairmaster today and get 15 or 20 minutes in of cardio. You're probably going to find something else you'd rather do, like go eat a big lunch or go take a nap. But you got to be in the gym. You got to work out. Friend after friend after friend after friend, man, they're obese. They've had heart attacks. They're sick. They don't look good. They don't feel good. It's not that complicated, guys. You got to go to the gym. Now, why aren't we going to the gym? This is why. It's my list of distractions. This is what takes you off your mark. This is what takes people out of the realm that they should be in to become more successful. So let's talk about what some of these distractions are. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm a distraction. Okay. Con artists. Back to what I was saying a while ago about the right kind of people. When you're hanging around people that are trying to take advantage of you, that are negative, you know what? It's not going to work out well. You're not going to get the kind of influence that you need. Everybody needs mentorship. We talk about it all the time. Mm-hmm. Find somebody in your life that you can relate to that makes you feel like you have a shot at becoming somebody, that you have a shot at becoming successful, that you have a shot at accomplishing your goals. You need people in your life that are already accomplished. I've had the great fortune of having that my whole life. I mention that all the time in these podcasts. When I was very young, my rabbi, he was so helpful. My high school speech and debate teacher, my black belt in jiu-jitsu, my parents. You don't need like hundreds of people to look up to. If you just have a handful of people in your lifetime that you can sink your teeth into, I guess that came from the vampire thing, right? To sink your teeth into.
Yeah, I don't know either about that.
You've never heard that saying?
I have heard that saying.
I use that all the time.
I don't know where it came from.
I said, you're the kind of person I can sink my teeth into, meaning that when I hire somebody in my home repair business, when I hire somebody in my music business to be as an artist, somebody I can sink my teeth into, somebody that I can run with, that is ambitious. We talked about that earlier today. Mm-hmm. We just hired a new country artist that's, I think, very ambitious, and I can sink my teeth into that person. Feel like I can go places with that person, and I feel good about working with that person because they're also ambitious like I am. You need to hang out with people that are like-minded, that hang out with people that you want to become like. Mm-hmm. If you want to become a more successful business guy, hang out with a more successful business person. If you want to become an elite athlete, hang out with some elite athletes. Even if you're not like with them all the time, if you can just be around them and hang out where they're hanging out, watch them. You can pick up a lot about people, a lot about what people are all about when you just hang out with them and just watch. You can see, you can just feel, where they're going and what their lifestyle is. But if you have the better fortune of spending time with these people, physical time, man, that's gold. Okay. Hang out with good people, guys. Get rid of the bad people. Don't hesitate. Listen, I've made a big mistake in my life many different times where I didn't do that. I didn't want to hurt people's feelings. So I would continue to stay around these people that were bad for me. And it's not good. It's a mistake. And learn from my mistakes. Don't do it. If somebody's not the right kind of person to be around, get the heck away from them. You just got to cut the cord, man. You know where that came from? Cut the cord?
Having a baby?
Yeah, the umbilical cord.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
That sounds right, doesn't it? Cut the cord?
Sounds right. You don't want to get away from the baby, though.
Or maybe it's like somebody dangling over a cliff and they're holding on to a cord and you cut the cord to get rid of them.
Yikes.
Yikes, yeah. I used that term yikes today. Somebody sent me a message and it was like, I can't remember what it was now. It was something about, their dryer quit working. And they said, I spent all my money to buy this washer and dryer. Now the dryer quit working and I don't know what to do. I go, yikes. That's how I answered them. I guess I should have said, I'll send somebody over to fix it for you, but that would have been the better response.
Yes.
Okay. Distraction number 2. Why are we getting off track, guys? Why aren't we paying attention to the goals? Distraction number 2. Relationships gone bad. Wasn't there a show or something called Something Gone Bad?
There was a show on Going Bad or something.
Something Gone Bad.
I don't know.
Oh well. Anyway,
yeah.
My brain it just I see these things. I see a word and it takes me to a thought or an experience. Or is that normal? Maybe there's something wrong with me. I don't know.
Could be. I'm sure there is.
Probably a lot of things wrong with me. Okay, so relationships gone bad. We talk about this all the time in our podcast. It's the same thing about being around people that you shouldn't be around with, but that you shouldn't hang out with. But in romantic relationships, particularly, it's an epidemic, guys. 70% divorce rate, and probably that much as far as people that just have relationships that don't work, that break up. It's really difficult to have successful relationships. And there's a whole bunch of reasons for that. We won't get into that today. But if you're in a relationship, guys, and it's not working out, and you don't see much hope there, it is just not worth it to fight and fight and fight and fight to keep it on track, because while you're doing that, your goals are just waiting in limbo. You're not going to get there, guys, because you're so distracted. I'm sure that the haters out there are going to say, yeah, but Ron, you don't understand. Sometimes you got to hang in there and not give up. I get all that. But if it's obviously somebody that's not taking you, serious, and somebody that doesn't have you in their best interest, and they're using you and taking you down, you got to get out, man. I had a good friend of mine one time, he would say to me, Ron, help people the way they're going. If they're going down and they don't want help, get the hell out of their way. Now, if they're going down and they want help, okay, give them a hand if they're sincere. That's different. It's very easy, though, to get duped. You like that word? Duped? I don't hear too many people use that word.
No, I don't either.
Must be something wrong with me. I have all these words that people don't use anymore, these sayings. It's like, what'd you say? What does that mean?
I do want to say, though, if it's a marriage or something,
well, now that's a little bit different.
Yeah, if you've been together a long time, I think some type of counseling or some type of professional sharing to try and figure out if there is a problem that can be fixed. But there's some things that can be fixed, and you can't hold on forever.
Well, in theory, anything has a shot, but I take a kind of a hardcore look at that, because I've had so many experiences in my life and seen so many people struggle, and it never works out, and it takes them off their mark. And I see great potential in so many people that never fulfill that potential because of bad relationships. It's terrible.
But I also see people that give up too easy.
I agree with that. I agree.
It's easier to give up than it is to work at it.
I agree.
It's harder.
I agree. And I don't usually agree with you too often, but I do agree with you.
I'm glad
on
you do.
That. Thank you. Okay, relationships. So we could spend a whole podcast just on that, and maybe we will again. I think we've done that before. The biggest obstacle really is yourself. Bad thinking, bad negative thinking. You are your own worst enemy. We talk about that. Look in the mirror. You got to look in the mirror and say, what do I like, what I don't like? We talked about that the other day. Look, you have to find a way to stay positive. We talk about that all the time on the podcast. You become what you think about. So instead of reading and putting in all this crap in your brain, like pornography and crazy things on the internet, focus on positive experiences. Read books that are positive. Read motivational books. Go to motivational rallies. Go to church. Go to temple. Hang out with people like Brent so you can have a positive outlook on life. You got to be around enlightening people. That's another cool word, enlightening.
I like that.
I haven't heard that in a while.
I like that word.
I don't know where I'm coming up with all these words.
I know. Today,
the brain, I guess, is just like a computer, huh?
No.
It isn't. You know what I can't figure out the brain, though, is how it can remember all these, like, millions of experiences. How does it sort it all out and remember? It's crazy.
It is. Yeah.
My friend Ike used to say to me, Isaac Jenkins, my friend for so many years, he'd say, the whole world's crazy, and I'm crazy too.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that.
Computers don't learn. AI learns.
That's what
computers
they say.
don't learn.
They say AI is going to take over the world. They're going to teach each other.
You put all the information in the computer, and that's all you have. With the human body and the brain, there's a lot of flexibility.
I don't think I'm going to get through the list. Any breaking news?
Oh, yes.
Okay, I'm ready.
Well, you know how these unfortunate hurricanes that are happening south of Florida.
Bad news.
There's Associated Press has an article on how the Waffle House helps Southerners and FEMA judge a storm's severity. They said that if a Waffle House stays open in town, even in a limited capacity, neighbors are reassured that the coming storm is unlikely to cause devastation.
That's interesting.
And this was Associated Press.
It's like a barometer.
So if the Waffle House is open, it's probably not going to be that bad.
Interesting.
And it's not a really bad storm, which is kind of weird.
It is kind of weird.
The Waffle House is the
barometer, basically.
Barometer for the FEMA.
I wonder
Also,
about these government agencies sometimes.
well, yeah, well, I think it's a tongue-in-cheek article. Yeah.
I got it. Tongue in cheek.
Today,
What's tongue in cheek? Where does that come from? Tongue in cheek. I mean, I get it. They're
don't
close
know.
together. Maybe that's what it means.
I don't know.
Tongue in cheek. It's like there's some association in the comments.
smile. I don't know. Yeah, you got a lot of questions that I can't answer today. I'm gonna have to.
Man, you're my guru. You
I'm
gotta be able
gonna have to
answer.
be better prepared next
Okay,
time.
thank you.
Today is National Flutternutter Day.
What does that mean?
I don't know what a flutternutter is. I
have no idea.
But I think it's something sweet.
Oh, okay.
But it's also National Hero Day. That's something
I like that.
that we might have to do a podcast
I like that.
on.
We need more heroes.
Yep,
We need more people we can look up to.
correct.
Back to mentorship. So important. People don't realize how important it is. It's so important. We could spend a whole podcast just talking about mentorship.
Yes.
Well, is that all you got?
Yeah, unless you want me to find out what a flutternutter is.
Flutternutter. That'd be interesting.
Oh, here it is.
Okay.
National Flutternutter Day is a stick to your ribs, chin, fingers, nose kind of day.
Oh my gosh. That's interesting.
Evidently, it must be sticky candy or something.
Well, we're going to finish the rest of my distraction list on the next podcast. One other thing I want to mention before we get out of here. I had a subscriber mention this to me the other day. Something along the lines of, hey, for some reason, I'm making all my friends mad. They don't like me. I guess I don't remember exactly how they put it, but the idea was that they were disappointed in the idea that people didn't want to be around that person anymore. So my comment to that person was, hey, you have to learn to be more gracious. And this is true for everybody, right? Including myself. You have to learn to be more gracious, more understanding, more sympathetic, more empathetic, more interested in other people's lives. And when you talk to people, it's always important to talk about them. Don't talk about yourself. Make them feel important when you're having a conversation. So if you're being arrogant or you're being difficult, you need to cut it out, because that's not the way to win friends and influence people. Do you know who wrote that book? Dale Carnegie.
Yes.
You know who Dale Carnegie is?
Yes.
Who?
Well, I don't know him
You don't
personally.
know him personally,
but he's a
you know what he did.
motivational. He's a motivational teacher of public speaking.
Well, many years ago, he's the one that built Carnegie Hall in New York.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a very successful
Did he build it himself, or
philanthropist.
did he hire
No.
somebody?
I've been to the Carnegie Hall, by
Okay.
the way. But let me tell you how I got there. I'm
Okay.
walking down the street in New York City, and I walked up to this man and I said, "Sir, how do I get to Carnegie Hall?" You know what he said to me? Practice, practice, practice. I'll never forget that. It's a joke, actually. But
It is.
Carnegie Hall was like the original Madison Square Garden way back in the day. It held, I don't know, 10,000 people, maybe. I think Madison Square Garden holds like 100,000 people, 80,000, crazy amount of people. If you make it to Madison Square Garden, you've made it in the entertainment world for sure.
Correct.
I've also been there. It's crazy, man, how big this facility is. But at any rate, so much for all that. So how did I get onto that subject?
Distraction.
Distractions. No, I'm talking about my subscriber that made the comment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so hey, here's the deal, guys. Be nice to each other. It's just that simple. Okay, any closing thoughts? Come on, you're a
No.
man of many words.
No,
Or am I the man of many words?
You are.
Oh,
you
God.
today. You have a lot of words.
I have a lot of
that
words
I don't have
today?
answers for. Yeah.
Okay. This is what happens when you work out before you do the podcast. Your brain's like on steroids. I'm telling you guys, you got to work out. You'll thank me later. I promise you.
But don't take steroids.
Don't take steroids, though. It's really bad for you. People
Yep.
die every day taking steroids. It's
Yep.
bad news bears, let me tell you.
Yep.
Okay, guys, well, just remember, if you don't give up, those stars, eventually they're going to line up. The key is to never quit, never give up. Stay the course. If you got a problem, work it out. Get distracted, get rid of the distractions. Stay on the track. And remember, every day is another day that you can start all over again. So if you're failing today, you don't like yourself, you don't like where you're at, things aren't going well, it does not matter. I speak from experience. A million times I've been through this. Tomorrow's a brand new day. You get up, you get a positive mindset, and start over again. And even when you're successful, guys, you still have to start over the next day, because you can't rest on your laurels. You can't say, "Oh, I made so much, I'm so successful." No, that doesn't matter, because the next day you got to earn that all over again. You have to start all over again. Every single day you have to earn your rank every single day. Okay, I guess I'll shut up and we'll get out of here. So, until we see you again, stay positive.